day, everyone. My name is Oladele, and today we want to talk about cancer in the Black community. We have several people that will be talking, but today I'm here with Mr. Bayo Oladele. And before he introduces himself, like I say, my name is Oladele, and I'm the co-founder and the executive director of the African Cancer Support Group. The group started a few years ago when two of us went to training with the Canadian Cancer Society. I'll talk more about how it actually started. But now, let's hear from Mr. Bayo Oladele. Mr. Oladele, you are welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Bayo Oladele. I don't know what to say about myself other than I'm a cancer survivor. I had multiple myeloma cancer of the plasma cell in 2016. And between that time and now, my wife and I and our family went through a series of treatment challenges, issues, but we thank God that we have been able to use our experience to benefit others. And that's one of the reasons why we started the Oladele Foundation and the African Cancer Support.
Thank you. I was reading recently, it says that nearly half of all Canadians will develop cancer during their lifetime. And about a quarter of Canadians are expected to die of cancer. You have gone through it, even though you are in the statistics of those that went through cancer disease. Thankfully, and thank God, you are one of the people that survived this. Can you tell us your journey?
Cancer is very specific for individual, and my own, which is multiple myeloma cancer of the plasma cell, is very specific and unique in the sense that no two people that have multiple myeloma experience the same effects. And so the treatments are always very different. My own affected my skeletal structure, my bone structure. But before I got into that, in 2016, I was actually working with my company and was doing everything that needed to be done. And I was having this pain, my left pelvic side. And I went to my family doctor, and my family doctor, actually before that time, I had my annual physical checkup. From the physical checkup, something came up. My protein level was elevated. As of that time, I had no idea what it meant anyway. And my family doctor said that, well, we need to repeat the test just to confirm. But before that repetition of the test came back, my situation actually grew worse. I couldn't continue again. I was at the office that day and everything just turned upside down. The pain was so severe that I've never seen anything like that. And I went home. I think it was a Friday or thereabout. But anyway, overnight, my wife and I had to go to the ER. I can still remember that we go to the ER around 2 a.m. and the doctors were so good, even though we had to wait for a few hours. But eventually we got in and they did all they could. They came back and said they couldn't find anything. And they gave me a series of medication that they've been given to me because that was not my first time of going there anyway, for pay. And it was getting to around 5 p.m. So of the following day, or maybe the same day, 2 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the doctor, after everything has been prepared for us to leave and go home, he came back to me and said, he was asking me, "Yeah, how old were you? Or how old are you?" Uh, he has all the information in the chat. I told him. He said, no, 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 it couldn't be. I guess he was thinking that if I were to be a senior, maybe that's why I was having that. He's going to do something else. Nonetheless, he said he was going to repeat the exit that he did before. Whatever he was looking for, I had no idea. He repeated, he said, if I will, you can take another 30 minutes to wait. That he wanted to repeat the x-ray. Okay. We waited for that 30 minutes. I went on to do the x-ray. We were waiting. We were waiting. It was more than 30 minutes. They started discussing among themselves that something is happening. Then he came back and said, well, they saw some tumor like something on my right rib. Okay, tumor on my right rib has not that won't affect my pain in my left hip. Anyway, but it was a Sunday. I don't know. I can't remember how everything went. Maybe it was a Saturday again. I can't remember again. What happened was that they said, we have to come back the following day because they needed another eyes to look into what was going on. And that I need to do CT scan. And I think that they were also whatever it is. So went back the following day, and lo and behold, around 6 p.m., these two doctors were just discussing among themselves. It could be myeloma, it could not. I had that word. I had no idea what myeloma meant at that time. Eventually, we called them off and said, what's going on? And he said, yeah, they think what they saw is myeloma. But that they could not definitively say that. They have to refer it to the cancer, the oncologist. And so I guess they give us another appointment to meet with the uh, oncologist at the Tom Baker. And that's when I started knew that something seriously was happening. As a matter of fact, when they said the word cancer, it was like it's a blow, it's like, what do you mean? How can I have cancer? But that's how it was. So that's how I got to know that I probably had cancer. By the time we met with the oncologist, I think a couple of days later, my oncologist was already sure of what it was because there was no delay. He just said, we need to start treatment ASAP, even before they did their biopsy, because it was that day that they did biopsy. The biopsy process is another story.
Can I jump in right there? When they said you had cancer, how did you feel?
I just said it like I had a blow. Because when the word cancer is mentioned, the first thing that comes to you is, so that's the end. Am I dying? It's like, it's difficult for me to explain. Yeah, I pray that you do not have cancer.
Amen.
It's only people that have, if make that announcement to that can actually explain how that can actually explain the feeling.
Yes, and they say that if people have had someone, if people had someone that had cancer in their families before, maybe they are prone to it. So, can you remember if anyone from your family or lineage had gone through cancer disease before?
Okay, so my immediate family, mom died almost 45 or 50 years ago, so there is no privilege of even knowing whether she had or will have had. My dad is still alive. He's almost 100. Yes. He doesn't use glasses for anything he wants to do. His eyesight is much better than mine. Uh, my siblings are alive that I know since I grew up to be somebody who knows anything. All of us are still alive. None of them, no, not until now, nobody has had cancer. Actually, in our family, it has never been said before.
So it just happened just like that. Um,
Mm.
what do you think could be responsible?
And that is why I was shocked. I was confused because if you look back into your family and there's nothing like that in your lineage, and your own immediate family now, you are eating the same food, drinking the same water, and how come only one within that family now has cancer?
So, so do you now want to say that it's just a random something that just pick anyone that it likes, or I mean,
Now I have thought a lot about that. I do have some theories,
okay,
but yeah, just my own thought and theories. It might have nothing to do with it. While I was working in my office, I I mentioned to you some time ago that I pulled my rib, and it was the same side of the rib where they saw they saw tumor.
okay,
So I was doing this manual work. I won't describe the type of manual work because by describing it, you know exactly the type of company I was working with.
okay,
Okay. But I was just doing this manual work because they want management staff to just know, you know, the operation of the organization. They want management staff to also to have an idea of what it is. And so I pulled this thing and my rib seems to maybe broke or cracked. I don't know. But there was no sign of it because after the X-ray was done, they don't see anything like a broken rib. So that is totally out of it. But I have also read that my type of cancer and some other cancers too may happen if you are exposed to uh, certain chemicals in your place of work. So while I was participating in this uh, manual process at the office, the vehicles that we were using, maybe, you know, maybe there are things that, well, my body was just not,
huh.
yeah.
I just want to come in there. You said you pulled your rib. Could we say that that pulling of ribs could have been a blessing in disguise? Because by the time I read it from the book that you wrote, that by the time you went to the doctor, that the tumor marker was already 60% plus in your body. So could we say that the pulling of the ribs, what if we did not pull the ribs? Maybe it will have just come boom, and that might probably be it.
Well, there are so many things that we could say are blessings in disguise. I mean, we have been told that the fact that you have pain in your body, right, is a sign that something is going on. So pain itself, a certain type of pain, are blessings in disguise because they cause you to look into what is happening. And with that, you might discover so many other things. The pulling of the rib added to the pain that I was having before. Because the pulling of the rib didn't actually stop me. I was still going to work. I told you. Well, I think after my rib, but I was still going to work. It was when the left hip pain started that I could not walk. So that's where we had to go to the ER.
Okay. So the doctor diagnosed with multiple myeloma.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what is multiple myeloma? Because it's kind of the type of cancer that is not that common even in the Black community. Even though they say it's in the Black community, but we never heard of it. So can you tell us what multiple myeloma is?
Multiple myeloma is, like I said before, cancer of the plasma cell. In other words, it occurs in the bone marrow. So the bone marrow, I'm not a scientist, so I cannot define it, and I just define it the way I understand it. The bone marrow is where the blood actually is. So it is that tissue-like thing that we have inside the bone. That is where multiple myeloma, forms. And that is why I think in my own case, it attacked my bone, all part of my body. And he said the marker says it was 60% of my bone structure that has been covered by myeloma. In other words, it is already metastasized in my body before it was discovered. That was why my oncologist said we could not wait any longer, because waiting a week might be, because exponential rate of the way that all this cancer cell multiplies, a week would have been devastating.
Yeah.
So I think I was still lucky when I went in, when it was discovered.
Okay, thank you. You went through cancer diagnosis. It was diagnosed, and it was kind of like sudden to you, sudden to people around you. It was like a shock. It was a root shock. Now, mentally, how did you feel?
And I don't know how I felt.
And then how did it affect you mentally?
I don't know how do I describe it mentally. The fact that it's just the way you think, right? When the moment you are told that you have cancer, everything is like there is, the future seems to have squeezed and collapsed at that moment. It's like there's no future again. It's like a blink, like the whole life just flipped through your eye the moment he told you you have cancer. And with the fact that in our community, I don't think I've ever seen anyone living that they said had cancer. Not that people don't have cancer, they do, but you don't know that they have cancer. So it was so bad. It was so bad.
I remember the day you were diagnosed. It was a root shock, right? And when the doctor said you have cancer, you looked down. What was going on in your mind? Can you tell me? Because I remember you didn't say anything. You just looked down. You were speechless. So can you tell us what was going on in your mind?
I was speechless because, of course, there was nothing for me to say. That wasn't the moment to cry. Of course not. And 8,001 questions were flying through my mind. It's like, because I had very limited knowledge about cancer as of that time. Very, very limited.
Hmm.
And so it's like that is the end of that. I didn't even know that people were surviving cancer out of that. No, because I've never had anybody who was close to me. Maybe that's not the right way to say it. Because I did, yes, I did have someone. Yeah.
I remember my mom passed of cancer, and I know the role that you played when when she passed. That was the only person that I knew that passed of cancer. Is that the person you are referring to?
That's the person I'm referring to. Otherwise, she was sick. I didn't know what the sickness was. Uh, I guess it was when it was when it was already too late. That's when I got to know that it was cancer. And no, I don't like seeing that image again.
One thing,
In fact, go away from my mind.
yeah, one thing that we know is prior to now in Africa, when people are diagnosed with cancer, people around don't know. For example, when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, I didn't know it was cancer. We thought she had this prevalent sickness in Africa or in Nigeria then that was called the malaria or typhoid. And it was so bad when they did a mastectomy for her. We didn't know it was still cancer. They did the first one. Then when they were going to do the second one, it has spread. That was when they say it was cancer. I'm like, what is cancer? And it was bad that they did the mastectomy for her. They sent her home. There was no follow-up. So we now had to get a friend of ours that was in medical school that was now coming to treat her. I'm sure things have changed now, but then it was really bad. Then people don't talk to their children that they have cancer. It's like a taboo in the community.
I don't think it has changed. And the reason why I say that is this. I mean, we left home a couple of decades ago, but the young families that are coming now, you will see it in them. The young families from Africa who are members of the African Cancer Support Group, you will see it in them that nobody is still talking about cancer. They still don't know what cancer is.
Okay. Now, you went through your treatment. We decided not to keep quiet about it.
No.
Can you tell us how you coped during your treatment?
Okay, so after it's been known that where it was cancer, and we all agree that um, we're not going to seek a second opinion, because remember on that night, email went to quite a number of people who are friends, who are medical doctors and elders of the community and things like that. And those who are doctors came back and said, we should follow through with the treatment and start it immediately. And that was why we did not wait. And we discovered later that it was a good decision, because for us to wait another week or 2 weeks would have been very, very deadly for us. So we thank God that we didn't actually wait. Now, a lot of people stood up, the community stood up, and in fact, I realized that I wasn't the only one actually going through it. That was one of the things that really helped me. And that's one of the things we are doing today, that no one has to go through cancer alone in their hopes, because cancer is too traumatic a disease by itself.
Yeah.
So you need somebody by your side. There are moments during your treatment when you will be completely helpless. Such time, you need a lot of people by your side, because your spouse, your closest friends or family members at that time, they are already tired. They've done so much. They are also tired. So they also need somebody to lead their hands up. So if only the two of you are going through it, you are doing a disservice to yourselves and to your children. Because, in fact, I just want to say here that the type of support I got from the community, right, encouraged me a lot. And from there, we said, no one else should go through cancer by themselves alone. We also went to some support group around, you remember? And we'll get to some of these, most of these support groups, we will be the only Black people there.
Yeah.
And that's another challenge in itself.
That is true. We went to different support groups, went to myeloma group, and any group that we visited, we realized that we're the only Black person in there. Meanwhile, they told us that myeloma, especially, is prevalent in the Black community. Then you now get to the myeloma group, we are the only Black. So where are the people? Are they hiding?
Okay, that's a good question. What we have discovered, though, is that the Black people, when they have cancer, just like we said before, they don't tell anyone. And they make sure within themselves, within the husband and wife, that don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
They don't even tell their closest friends. And so nobody knows that they have cancer.
Yes.
In Canada, unfortunately, there is no racially, there's no data that can be used to determine how many Black men or Black women, had cancer this year.
And you are right. I went through the Canadian Cancer Society website and I went through a data that they collected. I was going through it and I did not even see where they collect data by race.
No.
They have by age, by gender, by different things, but not by race. So how would you know how many Indians died? How many Africans died? How many Caribbean? So with that, you'll be able to know. Meanwhile, if you go to the US, you see statistics. How many African American died? How many males died? What type of cancer? Like when were they diagnosed? When did they pass? The prognosis and all those things. So I'm sure that will now inform them to know how to deal with the community. And I'm sure very soon, because research is now going on, I'm sure some researchers will stand up and do all these race-based data on cancer, because like I said, it's like number 2 killer. But today I was reading on CCS, it's actually the Public Health Agency of Canada. They said that it's like number 1. It's responsible for 30% of all deaths. And that was as of 2015, 30% of all deaths. That's high.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the Canadian government has decided not to collect racial data when it comes to cancer. For whatever reasons, because they must have made this decision a long time ago. We're just hoping that they will see reasons and, ask Statistic Canada to start doing that. we have to go to the US or to UK or to Australia to get data about Africans. How many Africans? How are cancer affecting African people? Just like you said, multiple myeloma is prevalent among African American. Why? We don't know. Just like prostate cancer in men.
In it is high.
It's also very high among African men, right? The any Caucasian ones. And when you read some of these articles again, you will see that it's not only the incident, cancer incident only that is high. The mortality rate is also very high. Cancer mortality is highest among Africans than any other racial group in the whole world. And it's everywhere. And those are the things that we discovered that made us decide to start to do what we are doing. Our goal and objective actually essentially is to reduce the number of people that are dying of cancer within the African community.
Okay.
But that is a very tall order.
Okay. So you have gone through cancer treatments and you've gone through all the ups and downs. Can you tell me how are you adjusting to life after cancer? Or before you go there, how are you doing now? How is the cancer marker? How is it? Do you still have cancer? Are you on remission? Are you cancer free?
Good question. In the multiple myeloma world, there is no cancer free.
Okay.
So multiple myeloma is one of those cancers that are considered incurable.
Okay.
However, there is a kind of, ways to measure how much, of this cancer cell in your body, or whether you are generating new cancer cell within your body, or, nothing like that is happening. In my own case, for some time now, the cancer marker, if you like, in my body has been zero.
Okay.
No new multiple myeloma is in my body as of now.
Yes, I know that since 2018, you have been cancer free. And we thank the Lord for that. All the blood work that has been done every month, the doctor will just say, there is nothing to report. I will check it to make sure that whatever they're looking for, that is a particular protein that they look for. And we thank God that you've not had myeloma, and we pray it will not come back. So, what are you struggling with now? How are things right now?
So at the beginning, I said that cancer, multiple myeloma affect people differently.
Yes.
In my own case, it affected my skeletal structure.
Yes.
And so my spine was affected. And it's not only the spine, so many other areas of my bone structure were affected. So when they said cancer marker in my body was 60%, it has metastasized up to 60% of my body. But the chemo that we had, the radiation that we had, and all the other medications, right, helped me try to get out of that myeloma at that time. Plus the blood transfer, the blood BMT, bone marrow, what do you call it?
Stem cell transplants, bone marrow transplants.
Yes, the bone marrow transplant that I had. Bone marrow transplant is common among the blood cancer group.
That's the stem cell. Is that what you are referring to? Okay, transplant.
It's common among the blood cancer group, whether it is leukemia or it is any other one around the side, we all have this bone marrow transplant. And bone marrow transplant could be autologous, or it could be from, somebody.
Yeah.
Autologous is that they're using my own purified blood, like back into myself. So they take the blood out through apheresis or whatever.
Yes, apheresis, yes.
The blood is taken out, is purified, and returned back into my body. Right. That is the best one. In a way, in a situation where I have to get new blood from other people, those are the one that leads to a lot of
A
challenges.
lot of challenges.
Yes.
And you have to wait for the donors. They have to match it. Okay.
And the fact that you have a match doesn't mean that when you get it, it's going to be seamless.
Similar.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've gone through that. You did transplants. You don't have cancer again. But you had this thing called the kyphoplasty. Like you said earlier, your skeletal structure was affected.
Yes.
The cancer ate all the bones, ate this, especially the spine, that you could not sit, you could not stand. It was really bad.
Right.
But the kyphoplasty helped.
So kyphoplasty is when they open your body to put in cement into certain part of the skeletal structure. Okay, so they put it into about 3 spots on my spine, and that helped me to be where I am today. Because before that, I couldn't sit, couldn't stand. Right. After that, it became easier for me to sit down. However, that was just the beginning.
Yes.
That was the beginning. What happened after is, and what I've been battling with up until now. I mean, we're talking about 2016 and up till now. And that is the pain that is associated with the fact that there is a lot of lesion in my body. In other words, there's crap in my skeletal structure. So whether it is those cracks that are giving me pain, or it is the fact that some vein, right, and I've been pinched, or whatever it is, this pain has refused to go. But I'm better off now. I have gone through all levels of pain treatment that is available in this environment. Currently, I'm with the chronic pain group, and they're doing awesome. So,
thank you. So, like I said, I want to ask you now, how are you adjusting to life?
So,
are you still able to go back to work? And if you are not back at work, what are you doing to keep yourself busy?
So it's just exactly what I was trying to tell you, that 2016 is going to be about 7 years now. So I'm still not back at work because of this same pain that we're talking about. It's getting much, much better now. Okay. Because I've sat in here now for about 30 minutes.
I was going to say that, wow.
Even though I'm rocking myself.
I know.
So it's okay. I mean, it's still because of I cannot sit still for a long time. And this just is better, really. So the pain actually has been so devastating. So much so that it's been difficult for me to go back to work. But if I've not been going back to work, what have I been doing?
Yes.
I have devoted my time, my total time to to helping other people.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
Yeah, helping other people. That's the key word. Wow, that's something that is commendable. And and how are we doing that?
I did mention briefly some time ago that after our experience and after I was discharged from the main treatment, that was October 2016, I was still receiving house, house, this medical house, they come to the house to follow up until I think either November or February of 2017. Yeah. After that, it was after that we went for kyphoplasty.
Yes.
We went for kyphoplasty in March of 2017. Okay. And thereafter, because of the surgery itself and everything, already I had to be home for about 6 months before I can even think of going back to work. And lo and behold, after that 6 months, I told everybody that I was ready.
Anyway, yeah, even though your doctor said no.
I went back to work.
Yeah, I know. He went back to work.
I went back to work.
It's like garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, it was just I thought I was okay. I'm ready to work, and yeah, I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't follow through or anything, and it was worse than you could imagine. And so I had to stop because I asked my company to reduce my work to 2 days a week instead of 3 days, and that cannot be accommodated because 2 days is what we be doing 2 days. So just since then I've been home, and that was 2018 actually. I mean that happened. And since I've been home, I've been going through. Okay, like I said before, I'm trying to take care of my pain and see. Today, with the chronic pain clinic in Calgary. I think Calgary is it's only available in Calgary.
Wow.
Chronic pain, it's only available in Calgary. So it may help me. Now, going back to helping people, we funded the African Cancer Support Group with the aim of giving back to people because of the help and assistance that we got when I was in treatment. Today we have the foundation and we have the support group. The goal and objective is there are actually two objectives that we have in mind. The two objectives combine totally to making sure that the number of Africans dying of cancer is reduced. So the first goal is to support any African that is going through cancer.
Yes.
We want to support them with, we want to provide as much of mental support that we can give. We want to give them emotional support as much as we can. Mm-hmm. But we also want to give material support. Mm-hmm. So the mental support is just to keep their sanity, their thoughts, and everything. Because we are going through cancer. Cancer is traumatic. So there are certain things that we need to do to help people along that line. And so we have registered counselors within our group that will refer these people to free of charge. It is the foundation that is responsible for the payment. We just refer people to that. In addition to that, we have, of course, we have registered psychologists as well among us. Well, we do emotionally because we know that our people, we are very, very religious focused. Well, maybe not religious, but we are very faithful people. So we're making sure that the type of emotional support that we are giving, the type of help that our counselors are given, are tailored, towards what the patient need. We are trying to be racially and culturally sensitive to everything that we do. We will not send a Christian to an imam, right? You don't want to send a Muslim to a pastor for advice.
Okay.
Because we all know what will be the end of that. So that is the emotional and mental area of our work. The one that is actually needed by almost everybody is the material support.
Yes.
When you are going through cancer from experience, there are times when both the cancer patient and the caregiver, who is usually the spouse, are both tired. Totally tired because of the number of visits that they need. There are times you have to go to the hospital 3 times in a day.
Yes.
And if you do have children at home, you cannot just sit down there from morning till evening. You go back, you go. Some of us will still take their children to school. When you combine all these things together, and it's not something that's going to happen in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. No. The minimum is about 3 months. If your cancer situation is stage 1 or stage 2 or 4, then you could be looking at, okay, 3 months are not right. But and that is why we want people to talk. Go for, okay, the detection of cancer, right? And the management of cancer after the detection. In the detection of cancer, you cannot detect it if you do not go for your checkups. If you do not go for the screening that you should go for at the right time.
Can I jump in? I get it when you say people need to go do checkup. Because if you don't check up, and that is why it's kind of late for some people, by the time they go to do checkup, they will say, oh, they discovered cancer and it has metastasized. It's kind of like too late. So we're using this medium and also our organization to do awareness campaign for people to go get themselves tested so that we can prevent cancer in the community. There is something that says early detection saves lives. When it is detected early, some people, they detect their breast cancer, maybe stage 1, and they're able to go in there. If they needed to do surgery, they'll quickly do the surgery, and the person will continue to thrive. But when it is detected late, that is when the problem is. A lot of people have lost their lives not going for screening. And we are in Canada. This thing is free. Medical is free. Please, if you don't have a doctor, please let us know. We have the tools, we have the resources where we can refer you to a doctor in your area in Alberta. You just put your postal code and you'll be able to see those that are accepting patients. And if you have any other question, please reach out to us. So now, how are you thriving?
I think you said that about 3 times.
Yes. How are you thriving?
Trying is, I don't know how to explain that. There is this thing, living well with cancer. In a situation where your cancer cannot be cured, even when at that moment your body does not, the test does not even when all the tests shows that you don't have anything in your body. See, it is always at the back of your mind. Because they told you that it cannot be cured. And you know that the type of cancer that you have is the one in your bone marrow. How do you extract it from bone marrow? We did the transplant, the bone marrow transplant, which has helped a lot. You cannot transplant the skeletal structure.
Yes.
So all the cracks in my skeletal structure are still there. There are no new ones, but the old ones are still there. I believe these are things that contributing to my pain. I will not say I'm thriving. If thriving means enjoying life, I don't know how do I say it. Enjoying life the way you want it. I thank goodness that today I can go almost anywhere because, because of the treatment that I have. As I'm talking to you, do I say I cannot say sedated because sedated means you are sleeping, that kind of thing. But I'm heavy on
medication.
Pain medication.
Wow.
So I'm trying based on the treatment that I'm still receiving after. So there is what they call living well with cancer. You can live well with cancer if you follow the maintenance that has been carved out for you by your medical team. So I will not advise anybody to go against their medical team. No. Of course, there are people who follow the alternative way and they get okay. Just as there are so many who listen to their doctors and they are okay. So please listen to your doctors. It's very, very important. I'm trying within the limitations that I have. I spend some hours to work on the foundation every day because that's all I can do. And we can report that the foundation is also doing well.
Yes.
Of course, the foundation requires funding to really support.
Oh, that's my next question. Right. I have two things to ask you. You mentioned you started foundation, the Oladele Foundation, and through that, the African Cancer Support came up. So how are you funding this? How are you able to help people? You said you like all the things that you guys that we do.
Yes, I've not even finished in listening what we're doing. I talked about mental, I talked about emotional. I was talking about the material support.
Yes.
And in that area, our material support includes providing ready-to-eat meal to families that are going through cancer every other month. But does it mean they will not eat between those months? Of course not. We're just supporting. The intention is when you are going through that treatment and you are so tired, you cannot do anything. There is still something for you. Something to support your living. So we provide a meal to cancer patients. In addition to that, we still make sure that your homes are clean to avoid infection. We know that when you are going through treatment is the most likely period when you could be infected. because of the low immunity of your body.
Yeah.
The chemo has reduced your immune system. At times, it goes to zero for some people, especially during the blood transplant. It goes to zero. And that's why they keep you in the hospital. But they cannot keep you for more than 2 weeks. So they send you home. If your house is not clean, you'll be subjected to infections.
Yes.
It has happened. It happened to me.
Yeah.
And it's happening to people every day. So we want to prevent infection from people. Infection leads to complication. Complication in the cancer wars leads to death.
Yes. So, yeah.
So
All right.
that is what we are doing materially. The other part of our work, right, is getting the community to come alive to talk about cancer. We are trying to educate the community about cancer. We bring specialists, professionals, oncologists, medical doctors, nurses. We bring in them to come and talk to our people about what to expect with cancer. The first thing is we need to get tested. We need to do our screening as at when due. And if it is detected, we need to follow through. Some people say that they don't want it to be detected because the moment it's detected, that's it, because what they have had before. No. Early detection, like you said, saves lives.
Yes.
How we fund it? At the beginning, it was so difficult. We were using our little funds. And communities start coming in. But we start growing. Initially going from house to house to people. We cannot do that again now. And the funding we are receiving from individuals within the community is not enough. So we start applying for fundings and grants. We've been lucky so far, to the extent that today we are charity. So any fund that we receive, no matter how small it is, we are now able to issue tax receipt. So if you give $10, you get a tax receipt. That's one of the advantages of being a charity.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you about caregiving. But before I go into that, we've had and we've even attended workshops on inequities in healthcare and also racism. Have you experienced any? And if yes, maybe inequities on how you were diagnosed or during your treatment or in anything, have you experienced any? I know the oncologist is a wonderful person. So have you experienced any during your course of your treatment?
During the course of my treatment, and since I've been going to the clinic or the hospital in this city, in this environment, I try to look back. I cannot really pinpoint a time when I've been negatively treated. Maybe I've forgotten, because I always try to forget things like that.
Mm.
So maybe I've forgotten, but I do know, but I've heard it from people, how they were treated. Now, treatment before the diagnosis. Yes, there are people, and even in my own case, I was at the ER about 3 times without detecting that this is what I had. And I also have a couple of people who went through the same thing. Went to the ER, nothing. They went back again, nothing. Only to be discovered that they are now at stage 4.
That's the truth, yeah.
If it has been discovered the first time, maybe it will be stage 1. So that is happening. But may I say that it's not only to Black?
Yes, that's true.
That is happening to everybody. And that's why we need to, I don't know, change the way we actually, you know.
Well, it's just that sometimes it's prevalent in the African community. Sometimes when people go to the hospital that they have pain, they will tell them that, oh, black people, they can manage pain. We've had people talk about that.
Yeah, blah.
Yes. And our one lady also, the husband is going through cancer. She called a social worker and the person told her, no, I can't deal with your type of people. And the person hung up the phone. So some people experience it, but some did not. So I was just asking about you specifically.
Well, yes.
Right.
I've not really experienced anything like that.
So those times that you went to the ER 3 or 4 times and nothing could be found. I mean, or maybe they didn't find anything. I don't know what could be attributed to that. I don't think it's racism. Maybe the doctors need to be trained on how to test for cancer.
So that is the challenge we're having today. See, the moment you are diagnosed that you have cancer, the treatment are structured.
Yes.
The treatment, but before you got diagnosed, there is no structured way of detecting that this is, you are having cancer. And I believe because there are various different types of cancer. So saying that this is the specific way for all the cancer might not be the thing. I think that's why that's not been done. But we still need to try. The government, the
powers that be,
the health system still need to find you. And I know that they're doing that because we participated in a program last year.
Yes.
When they're trying to see, okay, how do we detect this cancer?
This cancer, yes.
There is no way a family doctor can detect it directly or easily. And when you even get to the ER, that's not way either. So we need to, there must be, eventually a structured way that test for this, test for this, test for this. Okay, yes, this is it.
Okay, thank you. Now, I know that all cancer patients have caregivers. Some have their spouses, and some they go through cancer treatment and still they are their own caregiver. So in your case, I am your caregiver, right? So thank you. So what can you say about caregiving? How important is it, and how did it impact your cancer journey?
There are people, because I've come across people who are patient at the same time caregiver to themselves. And up to now, I asked the question, how did you do it? And how are you doing it? If you are sick, you are the caregiver for yourself. How are you doing it? It's caregiving is number one requirement for any cancer patient. I will never advise anybody to go through cancer without having somebody who's a caregiver for him or her.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not have anybody, I believe that you will ask. The social system has a way of providing somebody who will be checking on you.
Yes.
So nobody should go through cancer alone and by themselves. I thank goodness that you have been my caregiver. Look, I have told people, and I'm still going to say it in here, that I know that God heals.
Yes.
But if you have not been there, I wouldn't be here today.
It's God.
I just want to say thank God and thank you for what you did. I just realized later, after I was becoming okay, that caregivers go through emotions that are much more than what the patients are going through.
Caregivers, they see everything firsthand because the day you were diagnosed, it's like everything shut down, right? And I just talked to myself, okay, what can I do right now? I cannot just be shut down. So I had to take it up. And I'm sure that is how other caregivers did. Because the cancer patient themselves, immediately they are told that they had cancer or they have cancer, they are gone, like sitting there. It's not them that is sitting down. So the caregivers knows everything. They have to coordinate, they have to schedule, they have to be on top of things. And they are affected in every way. In every way. Is it financially, emotionally?
The patient is there on the bed.
Yes.
The patient is of course the patient is filled with pain, anxiety, if there is any anxiety when you are on the bed, because you are there, you cannot do anything. You are there, you cannot run up and down. Of course, the bed might not be ideal. You don't want to take medication because so many things. But it is the caregiver that runs up and down, maintains and manages the home when you cannot do anything. Looks for how the bills will be paid. It is just so complex. And all these are on top of your caregiver. So I think we should respect our caregivers, and I don't know, it would have been better if there is a kind of remuneration for caregivers.
Yes, I hope one day. Yeah, it's a full-time job. I remember, like, for almost 2 years, I could not work. And when I even said, okay, let me go and work part-time, I got to work, I could not concentrate. Then 2020, I said, okay, January, let me try at least work 3 days a week. I worked like 1 week, then before you know, COVID hit. I was back at home. So it affected me financially. I had to close one of my businesses, and the other one did not really do well. So if for me, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, I felt it. How about those that are working? They had to quit their jobs. And one thing that I know is, which I asked at the hospital, is there anything, any resources, any information for caregivers who are self-employed? As a self-employed person, there was no EI. There was nowhere to get money. Financially, we were drained. We had to spend all our savings. Like, by the time my husband got better, we had zero in our account. Nothing. Because you have to pay mortgage, you have to pay different things. And there was no information. Now, when people reach out to me, I tell them, now reach out to your credit card company, reach out to your mortgage company, reach out to your insurance. But at that time, there was no information. Nobody told me anything. In fact, there was even nobody to ask. I asked at the hospital, nobody could give anything, and I don't know why. And that is why we said no one should go through this alone. Now we have resources, we have information. If you are in this category, you are a caregiver and you don't know what to do, please reach out to us. Our email and the information is down on the screen. Please reach out. Don't let us kind of die in silence. We are trying to break the wall of silence, break the wall of isolation, break the wall that makes people not to talk and just makes people to go through life as if there are nobody. And thank God that we were able to go through it, and thank God that we are still standing and we are still able to help people. I know it's not easy, but with God on our side, we'll be able to conquer it. So, Mr. Oladele, who is my husband, before we close, do you have any other thing that you would like to say?
There are many things to be said, and I don't know whether it can be come out in a day. I just want to repeat what you just said.
Okay.
The main reason why we are doing what we are doing is just to bring enlightenment to our people. Just to tell people that the fact that you have cancer does not mean you are going to die. Between 2016 and today, how many people have died?
Huh. Even COVID.
Even if I die today, will anybody now see it's cancer?
Huh.
So, look, we are all going to die, indeed. That's true.
Yes.
But shouldn't we at least try, right, to be alive? First before we die. People say that they don't want to know what's going on in their body. It's better for them to die rather than, know. I will reply to that assertion or statement that, look, early detection of cancer saves a lot of life. It is when it is detected early that it can be treated. If we wait until we collapse or we cannot move again, that means the cancer has reached
A certain stage.
stage 3 or stage 4, depending on the type of cancer you have. It means that the cancer has metastasized. In other words, it has spread to different parts of your body. So if a breast cancer is discovered early, it means that it could be removed from that spot within the breast where it is. The moment it metastasized, it means it has spread beyond the spread to all organs of the body. That is why, if it is not detected early, we hear that somebody was detected yesterday and a couple of months later died because it has metastasized before it was discovered.
Yes.
And you see, the rate that the cell multiply is exponential. If one cell divides, it's going to form 2, right? What if a million cell divides? What if a billion cell divides? That is the problem. At the very early stage, the number of cancer cells are so limited. So it takes a while before it gets to that number that the moment it multiplies again, it just overtakes the body. Initially, it's just small. If it's detected at that time, surgery could do it, radiation could do it, chemotherapy could do it. So please, if you're afraid of detection, it is better to be detected and treated than not to be detected and then it's detected and that is the end of life. Africans are dying more than any other tribe in the whole world from cancer. Even though the incident rate is not as high as some other, tribes, but our mortality rate is always the highest.
Yeah, it's because by the time they diagnose a black person, an African person, it's already late. Yes.
Please, my people, let's check ourselves. Let's go for our regular annual checkups. And when we reach that age, when we have to do screening, let's do our screening. There are ages for breast cancer screening.
Yes.
And there are 3 of them that have,
Colorectal.
Colorectal also has
lung cancer. Yes.
every year. So please. And I think we cannot cover everything in a day.
Yes.
There are still so many to this.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure we'll come back to you. And I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this thing. And once again, thank you.
Well, thank you for being my, you see, If I now want to see what roles have you played in my life, from being, how do we start now? From being, uh, should I say, colleague? We're not working together, but we met at a, yeah, we're working. Okay. From there, we became friends. You became my wife. From being my wife, you became my caregiver. And today, you are my interviewer, my moderator. But thank you so much for everything you've been doing.
You're welcome.
And so many more things you're going to be doing.
Amen. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I wouldn't be here if not for you.
Okay. Okay.
I actually say that loud everywhere.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for watching this series. We'll still bring more series. And if you want to learn more about the African Cancer Support Group, you can be reached at africancancer.ca, and there is also rolling on the screen. Like you heard, please, whoever you are, wherever you are, please go for testing. It is free if you're in Canada. The early detection saves lives. Let us prevent cancer from killing people in our community. I still remain the host, Yeka Oladele, from the African Cancer Support Group. And also, if you are wondering how you can support us, we accept funding. And when you donate, you get tax receipt. We are able to bring this alive through people like you who are supporting us. No amount is too small, no amount is too big. We have events throughout the year. If you want to know more, you can go on our website, africancancer.ca. There is a button there you can donate. You get your tax receipt instantly. Thank you and God bless.